Good afternoon, gardening friends. It's now Monday at about 3 o'clock, and the beginning of the teardown is today. I've managed to find a good home for the two largest planters here, so I wanted to show you what they look like before and after, and then that'll be it for those. So here's the medium with the 3 pepper plants in it, and I thought at first I was just going to chop them down. But it occurs to me I've got enough pots around here. Maybe what I can actually do is try and save the plants. We'll see if they survive transplant or not. At least I'll give them a chance. So we'll pot those. And then we have the big planter with tomato with the, I forget what it's called, Somerset tomato in it. The little ones that I started growing from cuttings, there's no real point in saving those. I don't know if there's any point in really saving the big one because it's not showing me any flowers, and tomatoes aren't that hard to grow. So I'll probably end up cutting all of that down, but the fun part's going to be disassembling that sucker. I'm also not sure on some of these, but I got a couple of these planters that have decent plants in them, and they probably transport okay with the soil in them, so I might actually donate those too. We'll just have to see. I think that's it for today. Well, except for me showing you the after. Well, folks, it's a couple hours later, about 5 o'clock now, and I've pulled out somewhere between probably 50 and 60 gallons of soil. Found a place to put it. There's a part of the yard that'll be that much healthier now, but that's what this one looks like, and that's what that one looks like. And what I'm going to do next is sit down and watch the videos that I made about building these so I can figure out how I can deconstruct them with the least amount of damage and leaving the fewest amount of parts to move. Good morning, gardening friends. It's now Tuesday at about 11:30, and this is what the large planter looks like now in its present state of deconstruction. I've actually got it unscrewed to the point where I can just remove those 2 sidewalls, and ultimately what I'm going to do is rebuild. I have the medium planter is now out of here, headed for its new home. I think I mentioned yesterday I had to pull out all that soil. It was probably somewhere between 50 and 60 gallons of soil total. I think I'm actually going to rebuild this a little bit because in this original adaptation it was designed to hook on the wall without putting pressure on the wall itself, but using it as, I suppose in an earthquake it might have been a problem. Thankfully we didn't have that. This is Southern California, but anyway, so like that bottom piece here, that needs to be extended a little bit if it's going to be freestanding. So I'm going to do a little bit of reconstruction and hose it off and see what I've got, but it's still going to take me a little bit of effort to get there. Well, folks, it's taken some effort. This part of the patio hasn't seen the light of day, at least that part of the wall hasn't seen the light of day for a couple of years. I finally managed to extract it and pull it out. I had to tear it apart part way in order to get it out, but let me show you what it looks like right now. Okay, so there it is. I got it outside of the patio. I'll have to stow it somewhere temporarily until they can come pick it up. But you can kind of see it here, and I'll show you a couple more little quick updates so you can see the finished product. Phew, well, it's a little past 3:30 now. I managed to rebuild things so that this is really in 2 pieces. If you use your imagination, you can see the piece on the left actually fits on top of the piece on the right. I just happened to put the plants there because I've got to figure out how to get some good homes for some of these plants. The plant on the bottom in the black bucket is one of the Marconi peppers, which somebody else took the other one, which was much taller and actually had fruit on it. And the one on the right, on the top there, is the Stavros peperoncini, which actually is kind of out of your view. You just see the pot. But now they're kind of, I don't know. Now I'm pretty much done with this for the day. I'm going to have to figure out if I can leave this here or if I'm going to have to move it elsewhere, but I think it'll be okay for the night. And that's one more project knocked off the list. Until next time. Okay folks, it's now probably about 10:30 on Wednesday, and I wanted to give you one last look at this now that it's dried out after hosing it down, and I've done a little bit of sanding to try and take off some more of the dirt, kind of make it a little bit more presentable before I send it off, and take a couple of pictures so they know what they're getting into. But that's what it would look like if it was used as a planter, and that's what it would look like as just a garden table if you take the top off. Good morning, gardening friends. It's now just before 11 a.m. on Thursday, and I'm actually shooting this from a formerly impossible angle. The camera's actually in the area where or partly in the area where the big planter was. I know you can't really see all that much just because of the position of the sun, but you can see that I've removed quite a bit of the planters from here, and I have some good news on that. Here is an angle that I don't believe I've ever showed you before, and why would I? It's one of our dumpster bays. But one of the things we do here, and you might consider if you live in an apartment and if management likes the idea, when people move out and they have stuff that they're getting rid of but it's not completely trash, we put it next to the dumpster, and if somebody sees something interesting that they want, then they can go ahead and grab it. So it's kind of a recycling or repurposing of things. And I put a bunch of the planters out here, and at first I thought somebody had taken a whole bunch of them, but it looks like they actually just compacted them next to that what'd you call it, there's like a little serving table on the right there. Anyway, it looks like they actually just compacted it. They moved stuff on top of each other and what have you. I guess somebody was trying to be a little bit more efficient. I did notice though that at one point yesterday somebody had taken one of the larger ones and emptied the soil out of it. So if people benefit from the soil, good. It's all about repurposing. You can see the broom corn in there. Nobody seems to be too interested in that. But anyway, that's kind of how things are going. I'm moving a bunch of stuff out, and we'll see what happens with it. Good afternoon, gardening friends. It's now Friday at just before 3 o'clock, and the simplification of the patio is mostly done. You can kind of see about all that I'm really saving in terms of the garden. And even there, I've got the basil on the left, and the fava beans on the right. And the fava beans I'll probably also head off to the same home as all the other bigger planters. The smaller stuff I've been putting over by the dumpsters, and people have been snapping it up, so I'm happy to see that stuff is going to new homes. You can also see there's a tomato there on the right. I really should water that in. It actually was moving the box, and the box fell apart. So maybe it was about time to start disassembling all this stuff anyway. That's it for the update on the patio. There's not a whole lot else that's really changed, but part of moving is figuring out where to put everything, if I'm going to carry everything with me, and I don't know yet exactly where I'm going to go. So not knowing where I'm going to be, I don't know if I'm going to have a large patio or what. So I figured it's down to 1 or 2 plants, and that'll be it, and then I might even have to give those away. We'll see. I'll eventually work my way back up. Life is life. Things happen. Things change. You deal with it. That's it for today. Good afternoon, gardening friends. It's now Saturday at a little before 1:30. It's overcast. We had some rain last night. The plants benefited from that. Not a whole lot has changed since my last update yesterday, but I just wanted to show you this is what the overall simplified look is. I'm just going to keep a few plants until I finally actually move, and then I'll have to figure out what to do with them. The one on the right I may well give to my brother. That's where a lot of the stuff is going, and I've been giving thought as to what I'll do with next season. So I don't know if this will be the last update. I think what I'll do is maybe a few little tests on some ideas, but I got to keep packing and figure things out. So this is the Budget Gardener signing off, and despite everything else, hoping that your thumb is green.